What if the people sworn to protect you were the very ones trying to silence the truth? Not with a gun, but with something far more sinister: the destruction of data. This isn't a spy movie. It's the chilling true-to-life story of how one man's research nearly cost him everything. Meet Dr. Alistair Simmons, a brilliant public health epidemiologist. He wasn't chasing headlines, he was chasing facts. Meticulous, quiet, and dedicated, Dr. Simmons was on the verge of a groundbreaking discovery. His data showed a terrifying spike in neurological disorders in a specific city district. The cause: air pollution. The culprit: industrial violations that were systematically ignored. And the person responsible for monitoring those incidents was a highly ambitious police precinct commander, Captain Roger Voss. Voss knew that if Dr. Simmons's study went public, it would unleash a firestorm. We're talking massive lawsuits against the city and a career-ending scandal for him and his political allies. He couldn't stop the publication directly, but he could destroy the foundation it was built on: the raw data. Under the guise of a national security threat, Voss obtained a sneak and peek warrant. This controversial legal tool allowed his team to secretly search Dr. Simmons's apartment without telling him until weeks later. Their mission wasn't to find weapons or drugs. It was a search and destroy operation for paper and ink. At 3 a.m., the quiet of the academic neighborhood was broken. A small, unbadged team, led by Voss himself, used a master key to slip into Dr. Simmons's apartment. They moved like ghosts, heading straight for his office. They weren't tossing the place, they had a specific target: a small, locked, fireproof safe. Inside that safe were the golden keys to the entire study: the handwritten notes, the original sample logs, the chemical signatures. This was the only physical proof tying the neurological illnesses directly to the pollution Voss was supposed to be policing. The subtle noises woke Dr. Simmons. Confused and disoriented, he stumbled out of his bedroom to see shadows moving through his home. What would you do? Before he could even process what was happening, Voss turned, his face a mask of authority. "Police, get back. You are interfering with a federal operation," he roared. It was a lie. They were local cops acting far outside their jurisdiction. Panic set in. Dr. Simmons did the only thing that made sense. He reached for his cell phone to call 911. That was the only excuse they needed. In a flash, 2 officers tackled him. The impact with the hardwood floor was brutal. They pinned him down, one officer's knee pressing into his back with immense force. The pressure was so great it cracked one of his ribs and bruised his lung. He was trapped, gasping for air, his mind reeling in confusion and pain. While the doctor was pinned and incapacitated, Captain Voss went to work. He wasn't fumbling with the safe. He calmly produced a specialized lock-picking tool and drilled into the lock with precision. Once inside, he didn't even glance at anything else. He pulled out the precious paper files. Then he took out a small bottle containing a chemical solvent. Systematically, sheet by sheet, he dissolved the ink, erasing the truth, turning years of research into worthless blank paper. They left him there, cuffed on his own floor, struggling to breathe. It was hours before a regular uniformed patrol unit who had no idea what had just happened arrived. They didn't come to help him. They came to arrest him. The charge: aggravated assault on a police officer, all for reaching for his phone. Dr. Simmons survived the night, but his life was in ruins. He was out on bail, facing career-ending criminal charges, and the research he had dedicated his life to was gone. But this is where the story takes a turn. His lawyer, the brilliant Ava Chen, knew this wasn't about a panicked homeowner assaulting an officer. It was about the data. The entire case hinged on proving the attack was a calculated effort to destroy his work. The first piece of the puzzle came from a forensic locksmith. Ava hired an expert who examined the damaged safe. His testimony was a bombshell. The lock wasn't broken by a battering ram or brute force, which you'd expect in an emergency. It was damaged by a precision drilling tool. This wasn't a panicked entry. It was a premeditated surgical strike. But the most damning evidence was almost invisible. The initial crime scene technicians had noted a faint chemical odor in the apartment. Ava's team dug deeper. They analyzed the faint residue and identified the exact chemical compound. It was a rare solvent. And where did it come from? They traced it back to a specific supply order from a university lab. An order that Captain Voss himself had requisitioned months earlier, using another agency's name to cover his tracks. He had brought the tools of destruction with him. Then came the medical evidence. The doctor who treated Simmons testified that his cracked rib and bruised lung weren't the kind of injuries you get from a chaotic struggle. They were consistent with sustained, focused pressure, needed to hold someone completely still while you perform a detailed task, like drilling a lock and carefully dissolving ink on paper. The final nail in the coffin was the sneak and peek warrant itself. When it was finally disclosed in court, it proved the police were never looking for a weapon or any imminent threat. They were authorized to search for documents only. The aggravated assault charge, the entire justification for tackling him, evaporated. The combined weight of the evidence was overwhelming. The locksmith's testimony proved premeditation. The chemical residue tied the solvent directly to Captain Voss. The medical testimony showed the assault was a tactic to enable the destruction of evidence, not a response to a threat. The jury saw the truth. They found Dr. Simmons not guilty of all charges. But it didn't stop there. They awarded him a landmark civil judgment against the police department for the physical battery and the malicious destruction of his research. For Captain Voss, the fallout was catastrophic. His web of lies unraveled. He was convicted of felony breaking and entering and official misconduct. The man who tried to bury the truth was sentenced to prison. The subsequent investigation exposed his political allies, leading to a much-needed house cleaning. And what about Dr. Simmons? He used the settlement money to rise from the ashes. He rebuilt his data and established a new, independent foundation dedicated to researching environmental toxicity, forever free from political interference. His work, once targeted for destruction, now stands as a powerful testament to the idea that no matter how powerful the forces trying to suppress it, the truth will always find a way to the surface. This story is a powerful reminder of why independent science and a free press are so vital. It shows that courage and persistence can overcome even the most corrupt systems. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this story as compelling as I did, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next investigation into the stories that matter. See you next time.